As part of their job, computer programmer enables support for requirements and architecture, manages company's system performance, provides technical support to customers, generates reports, and mitigates potential risks. Typically, computer programmer is responsible to develop, test, and deploy apps, design systems, architect integrations and APIs, fix issues and bugs in existing code, collaborate with external teams like architects, designers, and marketing teams, manage and secure database access, provide customer support, and do a lot of other things as needed. Before hiring the candidate, companies would like to make sure that the candidate for this position can pass IQ and Aptitude Test to succeed on the job.
Hi there, this is Vadim Mikhailenko from Online Training for Everyone. And in this video, I would like to help you get ready and pass interview and employment assessment test.
Most common questions we see as part of employment assessment test are analytical and problem solving, patterns, charts and graphs, math and calculation questions, logical interpretation and reasoning questions, data interpretation and analysis questions, as well as a lot of others.
Employment assessment test typically used on the jobs that require analytical and problem-solving skills. These types of tests typically very important for the candidates that may need to demonstrate business acumen skills and business decision-making skills in the future as part of their job.
Let me share with you some best practices on how to get the most out of the video you're about to watch. You can watch this video as many times as you need to better understand the material. Consider watching from the beginning to end to make sure you didn't miss anything and have a good comprehension of the material. Practice questions and answers presented. Make sure you pause on the question and see if you can come up with the answer. And as usual, drop us a line and ask any questions and comments.
In this video, I will share with you sample questions we see on the test. I will have some questions for you to try, and I'll show you tips, tricks, and hacks on how to get ready and pass the test. If you like the content, please give this video a big thumbs up. This tells us that you need more content like this, and we'll make sure to deliver it to you in the future. Also, please consider subscribing to Online Training for Everyone. With every video that we make, we help you get ready and get hired for your dream job. And now, let's go ahead and jump straight to the questions.
Now let's look at the question which tests your knowledge of working with shapes, patterns, and numbers. Select an arrow which logically belongs in the rectangle with the question mark. Here on the screen, you see 3x3 box. Each row of the box and each column of the box has arrows. One arrow is missing. Which arrow do you think is missing? The key here is to identify the pattern. Each row and each column contains unique arrows. In the first row, we have arrow pointing to the right, upper right, and then to the upper left. Then upper left, right, and upper right. So here we have upper right, and then we have arrow pointing to the upper left, and what's missing is the arrow pointing to the right. And that would be the right answer. And the arrow pointing to the right would be choice A. And this is the explanation. So each row has 3 arrows. All 3 arrows are directed to 3 directions, and they are unique. According to the pattern, correct answer is A, because arrow which is directed to the right is missing in the 3rd row. Hopefully you got this one right. A lot of times, number sequences are used to test candidates' abilities on the test. We're looking at one of these types of questions. Which number logically follows this number series? And we have a series of numbers: 4, 6, 9, 6, 14, 6. And we need to determine the next number. We have 4 choices: choice A, 6, choice B, 17, choice C, 19, and choice D, 21. Do you think you know the answer? Let's see if we can get to the correct answer together. The best way to answer these types of questions on the test is to determine the pattern. You see that there are 2 patterns. One is pattern of number 6, which is in between of every other number. So we have 4, 6, 9, 6 again, 14, 6 again. And once we determine this pattern, we see that the pattern of numbers in between 6s is increasing by 5. So we have 4 increasing by 5, which leads to 9, 9 increasing by 5, which leads to 14, So to determine the next number in the pattern, we need to increase 14 by 5, which would be 19. So the correct choice here is C. Let's recap. The numbers in between sixes increase by 5, while the sixes remain constant. The correct answer is choice C, which is 19. Hopefully you've nailed this question. Now let's look at the very complex question which you see a lot during logical reasoning tests, psychometric tests, and the numerical reasoning tests. Find the correct shape to continue the series. And what we have here, we have 3 by 3 matrix with 8 shapes populated and 1 shape is missing. There are 4 choices as usual, but in order for you to calculate the right shape, you need to determine the pattern. And in fact, there are 2 patterns here on this screen. Can you figure it out? Do you know what the right answer is? As I mentioned, there are 2 patterns here. One is there is a pattern for the shape. Which shape would you choose? And second pattern is the pattern for the lines. And where is the right location for the line itself? Now let's go through the detection of the shape pattern first. So the shape pattern is triangle, square, and then the circle, right? So triangle, square, and then next one would be the circle. So we have a circle, that's the right value here, but all of this are the circles. So this was helpful, but not by much. But it just tells us that we are detecting the first pattern. And here, if you want to confirm, we have square, circle, and then triangle. Now, the most important part here is to determine on which side of the shape the lines should be located. And what we have here, we have 4 locations, as you can see in the answer. 1 location on the top, right, left, and bottom. So how would you know where's the right location for the circle shape? So let's look closely here and let's detect the pattern here for the line location. The line location starts with the bottom, right, and then top. So you see it's going counterclockwise. So if you imagine the clock with the clockwise rotation, then this would be counterclockwise. And let's see if we are correct and we have a pattern here. So we have bottom, right, top. Then we have left, bottom, so that still matches the counterclockwise pattern. And then we have left, bottom, right. So I think the missing shape here would be the one before the left, which would be on the top. So the right answer in this case would be A, because here we have a circle which matches the circle's pattern, and then we have lines located at the top. Let's verify to confirm that. And as you can see, the correct answer is A. So let's recap. There are 2 patterns you need to detect in this assignment. Patterns for the shapes and pattern for the line location. Shapes are displayed in the particular order. Triangle, square, circle, that's really the pattern for the shapes. And pattern for lines are in a counterclockwise order. So correct answer is A. Hopefully you've got this one right. You will see a lot of these types of questions in the assessment test. And now, here's the question for your practice. Vincent jogged at a rate of 6 miles per hour for 10 minutes and then walked at a rate of 3 miles per hour for 20 minutes. Which of the following gives the average rate in miles per hour at which he walked over this 30-minute span? Choice A, 4. Choice B, 5 miles per hour. Choice C, 6 miles per hour. Or choice 7, 7 miles per hour. If you know the answer, please post it in comments and I'll provide you with my feedback. Thanks for participating. Let's look at the pattern question, which is frequently used as part of employment assessment test. Determine the next number in the pattern. And you have series of numbers, starting with 0, 0, 1, 8, 27, 64, and then the missing number, for which you have 4 different choices, 85, 101, 115, and then 125. Do you think you know the answer? Let's see how we can get to the correct solution together. Let's first define the formula to calculate the next number, which is the most important thing in the pattern question. The next number will be represented as NN, where the previous number will be represented as PN. The next number will be calculated as cube of the number count. For example, 1 cube still equals to 1. 2 in the power of 3 would be equal 8. 3 in the power of 3 would be equal 27. 4 in the power of 3 would be equal 64. And 5 in the power of 3, which is the missing number, will be calculated as 125. So the correct solution is choice D, 125. Hopefully you've nailed this question. Let's look at the tricky question, which requires common sense and analytics to get solved. The box has 15 marbles of green, yellow, and orange color. There are 7 times more of green marbles than yellow. How many orange marbles does the box have? And you have 4 different choices. Choice A, 5. Choice B, 7. Choice C, 8. And choice D, 9. Do you think you know the answer? Let's see how we can get to the answer together. To solve this challenge, you need to make some assumptions. And the big assumption that we're going to be making is that the box can have more than 1 of yellow marbles. Because if box is to have 2, then there would be 14 of the green, which wouldn't leave any room for the orange marbles. So if there is only 1 yellow marble, then there are 7 green marbles, because there are 7 times more green marbles than yellow. And the number of orange marbles then calculated is 15, which is the total number of marbles, minus 1 yellow marble, minus 7 green marbles, would be equal 7 orange marbles. 7 orange plus 7 green plus 1 yellow would be total 15. So the correct answer here is choice B, 7. Hopefully you've got this question and understand how to solve these types of problems on the test.
Let me share you smart ways to get prepared for the test.
One of the smartest ways to prepare is to find out who your provider is that will be conducting an assessment test and use outlines and sample questions from the provider. The providers might be Indeed.com, SkillCheck, IKM, Kenexa, SHL, and a lot of others. Once you know who the provider is, you can go to their website, find out sample questions, and practice with sample questions. You can also practice LinkedIn assessment test questions on the topic that you will be assessed. LinkedIn test is free. It gives you exposure to the sample questions. And also, you can get a badge that will enhance your profile for potential employers. You can also research the topic you're trying to prepare for online and download ebooks to get ready for the test. Hands-on experience is very important. You can find relevant training and follow along to do hands-on exercises using practice videos on the training. If you have a question or ran into an obstacle during your practice exercises, try posting questions in the comment sections of the video. Channel owners or members of the channel monitor the questions and respond to the inquiries. And last but not least, consider subscribing to relevant YouTube channels. I encourage you to consider subscribing to Online Training for Everyone. We have a great community of people helping each other to prepare and pass the test. Let's look at the simple, easy to understand, but at the same time very tricky question you might frequently see as part of employment assessment test. What is the sum of all numbers from 1 to 100? And you have 4 different choices. Choice A, 2050. Choice B, 3050. Choice C, 4050. And choice D, 5050. Obviously, you can use a calculator if it is allowed on the test and get to the correct answer, but you might run out of time. There is a better solution. Let's go and take a look how we can solve this challenge together. You will get to the correct solution much faster if you realize that there are 50 pairs of numbers, and the sum of the first and the last number of each pair would be an equivalent of 101. For example, the sum of the first number, which is 1, or the last number in the pattern, which is 100, is 101. But the same is true for all other pairs. 2 plus 99 is an equivalent of 101. Same is true for 3 plus 98, 4 plus 97, and etc. When you continue this logic, you realize that there are 50 pairs, and sum of values in each pair is 101. So the correct answer is 5050. Hope you've learned how to solve these types of challenges as part of employment assessment test. But if you're looking to get more questions, please make sure to check out my ebook in the description section of this video. Here's the question you might frequently get as part of employment assessment test. The sum of 2 fathers' age is 80. The sum of 2 sons' age is 40. The sum of the father's and the son's age is 60. How old are each of 3 mentioned people? And you have three groups of people. Choice A, 60-20-10. Choice B, 55-25-10. Choice C, 50-30-10. And choice D, 55-25-15. Do you think you know the answer? Let's see if we can get to the correct answer together. Let's first understand the detailed scenario. We have a multi-generation family here, and the three people mentioned are a grandfather, who is also a father. We'll call him a G for simplicity in the calculations. We also have a son who is also a father, and we have a son who is also a grandson. We'll call father an F and grandson as S. Another key consideration here is that each person is in calculations twice, which means if we add up pairs of values, we will get the twice of the summary age of all people. To calculate sum of all ages twice, we add all three pairs, which is 80 plus 40 plus 60, and we get to the value of 180. To get actual age, we need to divide 180 by 2, and the calculated value is 90, which means that sum of grandfather plus father plus grandson ages is 90. Now, as we have a sum age for all three people, we can calculate individual values because we already have ages for each pair. The age of grandson is 10, which is calculated as 90 minus 80. The age of father is 30, which is calculated as 90 minus 60. And the age of grandfather is 50, which is calculated as 90 minus 40. So the correct answer is C, 50, 30, and 10. It seems like a tricky problem, but together we can solve it. So hopefully you've got an idea how to solve these types of problems on the test. If you're looking for solutions to other problems you might frequently see on the test, please make sure to check out my ebook in the description of this video. And now, here's the question for you to try. Please make sure to post your answer in the comment section of this video. Here's the question. The math class had 29 enrolled students, while 34 students were enrolled into the English class. If 14 students were enrolled into both classes, how many are enrolled into only one of these classes? And you have four choices. Choice A, 15. Choice B, 20. Choice C, 35. And choice D, 63. If you know the answer, please make sure to post it in the comment section of this video, and I or other experts on the channel will reply with the correct answer in the comments as well. Thanks for participating, and good luck testing your knowledge. Now let's look at the question which is frequently used as part of verbal reasoning, aptitude test, and psychometric tests. If you rearrange the letters CIF, AIP, C, you would have the name of and there are four choices: country, city, ocean, and river. So the tricky part of this question is that these are not the final answers. You can't rearrange this set of letters to get to the country. You can't rearrange it to get to the ocean letter or to any one of these letters. It is country name that would be a result of this rearrangement, or ocean name that would be, or city name or river name. So let's see if you can get this one correctly. Unfortunately, there is no easy way to prepare yourself for these types of questions. And the correct answer here is Pacific. So the answer is Pacific Ocean, right? But there's no way for you to know this. You probably heard the term of Pacific Ocean, but the best practice to answer these types of questions would be to go and start with the smallest one, and smallest one would be ocean. There are only very few oceans, and you're probably much better off starting and going and counting through all these oceans that are available. And one of those oceans would be Pacific Ocean. Because if you start to go with city, river, and country, there are too many countries, too many cities, and too many rivers, and the expectation is that you would not know all of this, and you can't answer. So that's the best way to come to these questions. Identify what is the smallest number of items that's on the list, and then loop through these items to identify the right one. So going back, is Pacific Ocean is the answer. And hopefully you will have the tips and tricks to get these types of questions correctly. Let's look at the tricky question you might frequently see as part of employment assessment test. The math class had 29 enrolled students, while 34 students were enrolled into the English class? If 14 students were enrolled into both classes, how many are enrolled in only one of the classes? And you have 4 different choices: 15, 20, 35, and 63. Do you think you know the answer? Let's see if we can get to the correct answer together. To solve this challenge, we need to understand how many students were enrolled into the math class only, and then into the English class only. To calculate math-only students, we need to subtract 14 from 29, and we'll get the number of 15 students enrolled into the math class only. Number of only English students would be 20. When we subtract 14 from 24, this is exactly what we get, 20 students. So the answer would be the sum of 15 and 20, and 35 students are the students that only enrolled into one of the classes. So the correct answer is C. Let's recap. We have groups of students that are enrolled into both English and math classes. To solve this challenge, we need to find students that only enrolled into one particular class, and then add them up to get to the correct answer. Hopefully you've nailed this question.
A lot of students ask me, what are the smartest ways to learn? Let's look at the different options available to you.
Let me share with you some ways to learn new material that work for me. I typically use dedicated, uninterrupted chunks of time to read and practice new material. When my attention drifts, I try to take a break, and I typically do it every 25 to 30 minutes. I recommend that you download workbooks to practice the hands-on steps, which helps you reinforce the steps and better learn the material. When I try to learn something, I try to watch videos from start to finish in one sitting. I use different playback speed to make sure the material keeps me engaged. I also try to give myself time to absorb the content. And if something is not clear, I try to pause the video, and sometimes I even go back to review material more than once. Let's look at the budget question you might frequently see as part of employment assessment test. A student sets her budget for groceries at X dollars. If for each of N days she uses Z worth of groceries, which of the following expressions represents amount left in her budget? And you have 4 choices: X minus N, X minus Z, and X minus Z, and an X minus NZ. Do you think you know the answer? Let's see if we can get to the correct answer together. To solve this challenge, let's interpret the original formula so we can put the correct values into the formula. If a student sets her budget for groceries as X and then uses Z worth of groceries in N days, the original budget value would be X, and she uses N multiplied by Z. So the budgeted amount minus the actual expense represents the amount left in her budget. So the final formula would be X minus NZ. So the correct choice here is choice D, X minus NZ. Hopefully you've nailed this question. Let's look at the interesting question you might see as part of employment assessment test. A student can rent a violin from a music store for $15 a month for the first 3 months, and then $10 a month for each of the following months. How much would he pay for rent if he needs a violin for 9 months? And you have 4 choices: $90, $105, $120, and $135. Do you think you know the answer? Let's see if we can get to the correct solution together. To calculate correct values, we need to do 2 separate calculations. First, we need to calculate the value for the first 3 months, which would be an equivalent of the rent $15 per month multiplied by 3. The value would be 45. This is the total student will pay for the first 3 months. After first 3 months, student will have a discounted rent, $10 a month. So the value for the next 6 months would be $10 per month multiplied by 6, and then would be equivalent of 60. So the total cost of renting the violin for 9 months would be 45 plus 60, which would be an equivalent of $105. So the correct choice here is choice B. Hopefully you've nailed this question. And if you're looking for more similar questions that you see on employment assessment test, please make sure to check out my ebook in the description of this video.
I'm sorry for the interruption, but I would like to ask you to participate in our daily assessment test challenge. I post new questions regularly as part of online training for everyone YouTube channel community tab. I give you opportunity to try and answer this question yourself. We post answers and explanations to the question in the comments next day. Please make sure to check it out and test your knowledge. And now let's continue and get you ready for the test.
Let's look at the simple but at the same time tricky question which we frequently see on the test. The sum of ages of 4 family members, mom, dad, daughter, and son, is 70. What would be the sum of their ages together in 4 years? And we have 4 different choices. Choice A, 74. Choice B, 76. Choice C, 82. And choice D, 86. Do you think you know the answer? Let's see how we can solve this challenge together. The easiest way to solve this challenge is to understand what are we being asked. Currently, total age of 4 people together is 70 years old. And you have to understand that in 4 years, each family member will be 4 years older. Since family has 4 members in total, age increase for the family will be 4 multiplied by 4 members multiplied by 4 years, which would be 16. So the total age of the family members in 4 years will be 70 plus 16 would be 86. So the correct choice here is choice D, 86. Hopefully you've nailed this question, and if you need more questions like this, similar to what you see on the test, please make sure to check out my ebook in the description of this video.
Thanks for watching. I encourage you to check out our daily question challenge in the community section of this channel. I also recommend that you check downloads in the description section of this video. Please also check out resources page on our website, howtoanalyzedata.net/resources. If you like the content, please give this video a big thumbs up. This tells us that you need more content like this. I would encourage you to share this video with other people that might be looking for the job. This will help them to get prepared and pass assessment test faster. Please consider subscribing and following this channel. We have a community of great people helping each other to get ready and pass the test. Please leave questions, comments, or suggestions in the comment section of this video. And all the best on your interview and assessment test. Thanks for watching.